Welcome, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Mary Ann Hensley, and I'm the Director of Digital Media Content at FreightWaves. I'm excited to be here with you today, and FreightWaves is proud to present this webinar in partnership with McLeod Software. Here in today's presentation, we're going to be hearing from Robert Brothers, who is the Director of Product Development for McLeod Software. Robert has held positions in installation, sales, and product management in his 26 years with McLeod Software. He leads a team of software professionals to build and maintain McLeod's flagship products, LoadMaster and PowerBroker, and he will share the capabilities and benefits of the newly released McCleod Capacity Creator. We'll also hear from Brian Kelsey, who is VP of Operations for ZMAC Transportation Solutions. Brian is one of the founding members of ZMAC, which started in 2010. He has been in the transportation industry for 23 years, and he'll be sharing his experiences in using the McCleod Capacity Creator. The presentation will be followed by a Q&A session where Robert and Brian will answer questions from the audience. So before we get started, here are just a few things to keep in mind. First, the webinar is being recorded, so there's no need to take screenshots or notes along the way. We'll share a link to the recording and a PDF of the presentation afterward. And secondly, if you have any questions during the presentation, please type those into the Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom webinar control panel. We'll monitor both the Q&A and chat functions to answer questions quickly throughout the presentation, but we will also leave room to address questions during the Q&A session with Brian and Robert. So now, without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Robert Brothers with McLeod Software.
Good morning, and how are you doing this morning? Thank you for joining us for this webinar for the launch of McLeod's Capacity Creator. McLeod is a provider of powerful transportation management solutions for the transportation industry. We have an established base of more than 850 active truckload and transportation brokerage customers. Our product lines include LoadMaster and LoadMaster LTL for truckload operations, and our PowerBroker products are a solution for transportation brokerages and 3PL companies. These two products are complemented by Document Power, a document imaging and business automation management solution. Capacity Creator is a new offering that is tightly integrated to work with our PowerBroker software solutions. Joining me, as Marianne said, is Brian Kelsey, Vice President of Operations of ZMAC Transportation in Racine, Wisconsin. ZMAC has been a longtime customer of McLeod Software, beginning 8 years ago at their initial startup. Brian, can you share more with us about ZMAC?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. As Robert mentioned, I'm Brian Kelsey, Vice President of Operations at ZMAC. ZMAC is primarily a flatbed, over-dimensional, and heavy haul broker. We cover all 48 states, Canada, and Mexico. I'd like to also add that very excited to present with Robert today to discuss and add my input with their new product, Capacity Creator.
All right. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that. So we'll get into the meat of the presentation here. Capacity Creator has been inspired by two major market opportunities. The first is the growth of the overall economy. Headlines from around the country have highlighted the strong growth in GDP. This has transpired into more freight volume. Transportation brokerages have been the big beneficiary in capturing additional revenue through this load volume growth, as well as rate increases from the shipper community. The second driver of the Capacity Creator is the capacity shortage itself. The shortage has been generated by a number of factors, including the increased freight volume, as shown in the previous slide, and the enforcement of the ELD mandate in April of this year, reducing the utilization of the small fleet operators slow to adopt this technological change. Brian, can you speak to the challenges that ZMAC has faced by the convergence of these two market forces?
Absolutely. As Robert mentioned, freight volume and the ELD mandate has affected us considerably since our freight is specifically driven on the spot market pricing, and roughly 90% of our freight is transactional. What this has done is created inconsistent prices to our customers, which obviously affects our margin dollars. As many brokers, 3PLs, freight forwarders, I'm sure agree, this also brings some unwanted tension between us and our customers. One way to help and resolve or minimize some of these hurdles is to basically find more capacity.
Great. For these two reasons, finding additional capacity has been a huge priority for our power broker customers, as Brian had mentioned, to continue their growth and their ability to service their customers' needs. This is where Capacity Creator can fill that demand through automation. The ironic part of the capacity shortage is that carriers are in the market asking for loads. Power broker users just need a way to convert these requests into actionable data. And this is exactly what Capacity Creator does. Brokers for years have received emails from carrier partners telling them where their open trucks will be and potentially where they want to go. The problem is these emails are not actionable data. The emails come from carriers in all sorts of formats and ways. The email can be free-form text, it could be generated HTML table, it could be an attached Word, Excel, or PDF document to the email. Some carriers even take images of available capacity to send. So there's a wealth of information sitting inside each carrier executive's inbox just waiting to be mined. But because the transportation brokerage users receive hundreds, if not 1,000 emails a day, it is hard for a person to recall any given email, much less an individual tractor's available location, date, trailer type, and desired destination. So the alternative to this is to have a person key this information into PowerBroker. And while McLeod has developed easy-to-use entry screens to facilitate this activity, it is still laborious and costly to have your carrier executives spend time on this activity, so the data just goes uncaptured. Brian, in your organization, approximately how many total emails do users handle a day, and how many available tractor emails do they receive?
Right now, my carrier execs are averaging just around 300 emails a day, and it's it's funny you ask how many tractor emails we receive per day. I'm a little embarrassed, and honestly, I really didn't know, but I assumed we had a fair amount. So once I started getting involved in with the Capacity Creator, first thing I did was I wanted to centralize all the available tractor emails. So what we did was we created a shared email mailbox, and once they start getting imported into that shared email box, I soon discovered that we had right around 100 of these emails coming in on a daily basis.
Wow, that's great. So have you been successful at utilizing these types of carrier emails through different initiatives at ZMAC before Capacity Creator?
We have not. Speaking with my carrier execs, most of them said that they would take a glance at the email to see if any tractor would work with any load that they're currently working on. If they didn't see a good match, the email would either get placed in a subfolder or it's sad to say it basically just get deleted.
Right. Yeah. So that's the problem we're trying to solve today with Capacity Creator. So PowerBroker users face the issue of rising load volumes, shrinking carrier capacity, but they do receive these valuable yet unactionable available tractor emails. The challenge is to take this unstructured data and convert it into structured data. Capacity Creator does that. And by taking advantage of our partnership with Parade.ai, sophisticated artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms are applied to each email to be transformed into a structured data record. The accuracy of this process has been measured at 97% and is climbing. The human accuracy rate of data entry is at or below 97%. So the other 3% of the Capacity Creator emails that aren't automatically processed are sent through a quality assurance team to improve the model so the maximum amount of data is captured. So just how is this newly mined structured data used? Here we see a Capacity Creator view of emails received from carriers that have been processed into the system. Each of the columns can be sorted by the user for the desired view. In my view, I've sorted the number of load matches each email has generated. After the number of matches, there's also an indicator if an email offer has been sent to a carrier based on the load matching process of this email. In addition to the grouped view by email, a user can select to see an available loads view. PowerBroker provides available load data as well as covered load activity to Capacity Creator. This near real-time data feed allows Capacity Creator to match the available trucks extracted from the carrier emails to the right load. Capacity Creator users have configuration options on the matching techniques, as well as the notification options of those matches. As users begin to use the Capacity Creator, they may choose to review each match before manually making an offer, or other companies might choose to have the automated matches notify the carrier execs for an initial review. Once reviewed, those offers could be forwarded on to the carriers. Lastly, a fully automated option would be to send the carriers an offer as soon as the system matches an available tractor to an available order with the carrier executive copied on that offer. So over time, users will see how the automated matching works and will transition into the fully automated option. Carriers will get near instantaneous response to their available tractor needs, giving your company the first option on that capacity. So Brian, how do you see ZMAC using this part of carrier capacity automation?
Well, currently what we are doing is using the option to notify my carrier execs. And the reason why I'm using this option is so my carrier execs and my carriers can kind of gain trust in this new process. So far, I've received great feedback from both my carrier execs and my carriers with this matching capability. Now, I do plan on implementing the fully automated option pretty soon.
Oh, great. Yeah, it's good to hear. So the available order view has the same sortable column heading options. Here we have it sorted by pickup date. As we select an individual load for detail, the detail load screen would be presented. This screen shows basic load information at the top, but more importantly, options to see the matched tractors based on the emails processed by carrier capacity. With the PowerBroker integration, the system can also match on delivering trucks. Those trucks that are on one of your loads that will be delivering near the origin of the available load. A third option of capacity can be recurring tractors, which are details each brokerage company might have on file of a carrier's repetitive capacity in a certain market on a specific day of the week. And lastly, we also capture any available trucks that might have been manually entered into PowerBroker through phone calls with the carriers. Each of these matched capacities will be listed. Details of age, available date, location, and proximity to the origin of the load, desired destination, and equipment are provided. Additionally, a 30-day load history is shown to let users know if this carrier is regularly used in their network. Above the column headers, users have filtering options to narrow or expand the data set according to their needs. So if they need a larger origin radius, the distance filters could be used. The capacity lines also have additional actions available to the users. The first action is to be able to manually send the offer order email to the carrier. The carrier exec can add additional comments or requirements into this email. A second action provides a way for the carrier executive to call the carrier. Phone numbers are extracted from the available tractor email or provided from the FMCSA data if no phone numbers are provided in the email. For users with click-to-dial browser plugins, the user can click the phone number to start the dialing process. Lastly, the user may just want to review the details of the email that was created for this capacity match to see the email that was originally sent into Capacity Creator. This may give other clues about additional trucks, or where they want to go. Capacity Creator is a powerful tool to automate the processing of unstructured emails into actionable data. At McLeod, we've taken steps to tightly integrate that into the Power Broker software. We've showed how available orders are matched to carrier capacity. These available orders come from the Power Broker system in near real time, the detailed information needed for the matching. Other data interface points include carrier preferences. These are things like inactive or no dispatch statuses, carrier trailer types, and carrier desired lane destinations. Each of these additional data points provided will result in a better matching of capacity to loads. Capacity Creator will send the available tractors extractions back to the Power Broker available tractor load list. These records can be used in the operations decision support system to find the best tractor to load or load to tractor. Additionally, users can see more characteristics about the carrier in Power Broker, including carrier rankings that are derived from the carrier scorecard module. Besides matching available tractors to the current committed loads that a broker might have, carrier executives have tools to search for new customer freight opportunities based on the availability of a carrier's tractor. So we are not only trying to cover the loads that we currently have in the system, but trying to expand the revenue opportunities through new load solicitation. So Brian, how do your users typically use the available tractors portion of the planning board?
Well, I first want to start out by saying that this interface data from Capacity Creator is what I was most excited about. As a McLeod user and the McLeod users out in the audience, this is a screen that we look at every day. And prior to using this Capacity Creator, our available tractor list was just, it was so small. We rarely found any matching trucks for loads. And since matching was rare, my carriers actually found themselves using it less and less. Now with the extracted tractors from emails populating the available tractor screen, matching has been much more successful.
Oh, great. Yeah. So can you see how your company might expand their sales efforts knowing the available capacity is in certain markets?
I can. Obviously, I'm in operations, sales. Everybody knows that's a little different. But for how I see it, with the amount of available tractors showing up, I believe my sales execs will now be able to search and see the availability prior to calling on a current customer or new customer due for a call in their CRM. What I can see this doing is helping them with negotiating and confidence.
Great. Yeah. I really see it as a way to say, hey, I've got a truck in Oklahoma City. Let me look for a customer that maybe does loads out of Oklahoma City in the past, and maybe just give them a call and see if they have that load available again.
Absolutely.
Shippers, have pretty regular lanes, and it gives me an opportunity to make some additional calls to expand the pie.
For sure.
So in an effort to keep users in one system, we have integrated the carrier capacity's detailed load view into the movement screen. All the capabilities of the web page are available right into this screen. Users can choose to open a specific load view in a new browser window as well if they prefer to work through the browser through a toolbar command. So Brian, what other benefits do you think you'll realize through the use of this tool?
Well, integrating the Capacity Creator view into the movement screen is probably the most realistic way my carriers X will use this tool. For them to stay in one centralized location, use the data analytics provided, this will help them be successful finding the right carrier for the right load.
Yeah, that's great. So are there any other benefits you think that Capacity Creator might bring? Just strengthening your carrier relationship, or?
It obviously can. Right now, that's what they're using it for. To see the loads, the availability, everything that we can do in the web portal, open up a new web, we can do everything right in there. So it's everything you described in that service, they can do it right there. Now it's just a matter of them gaining trust in it, understanding it, and utilizing it.
Great. Yeah. Do you think carriers prefer to send you their capacity as opposed to posting it on the load boards?
I guess that would have to be a question for the carriers. I'm sure there's mixed opinions on that. Right now, or at least how it has been previously, carriers, they don't want all these calls. I mean, that's evident in the fewer postings that we're seeing on the load boards. So for them to send out their emails of available tractors to the brokers that they trust and want to maintain relationships with, I would have to say that's definitely becoming more common.
Oh, great. Yeah. All right. So I hope the webinar has been a good first introduction to the powerful features of Capacity Creator for McLeod's Power Broker customers. By automating the processing of unstructured emails into actionable carrier capacity records available through the Capacity Creator website or through Power Broker's integration, users will be able to cover more loads with carriers that have trucks wanting to be covered. As brokerages implement these processes across their carrier networks, the benefits will only grow. The challenges of the marketplace provide an opportunity to distinguish your services from your competitors, and if you can act to solve those challenges. We have shown how Capacity Creator does just that. So we'll be happy to take some questions and hopefully answer any other follow-up items that may be necessary.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian and Robert. That was so interesting, and I hope everyone in the audience found the presentation to be helpful as well. Now, I'd just like to take some time for questions from our audience. So just as a reminder to everyone listening in, just be sure to type your questions into the Q&A box in your control panel. And if we don't get to your question during this segment, you can expect someone from the team to follow up with you directly after the webinar. So feel free to ask away. And it looks like we do have a few questions that have come in so far. So first, do you receive historical data from carrier equipment postings? And if so, how far back?
So we do receive historical data from carrier lane choices. So we send a history of carrier lane information that has been done in the past. We don't necessarily send the available tractor history because most of the time that's not captured. So we do answer one side of that question, but not necessarily the other.
Okay, great. And is the available capacity data only based on emails sent to my own company, or can I see the capacity based on emails sent to other users of Capacity Creator as well? So in other words, does the data become more useful as more McLeod customers use it, or am I limited to my own data?
In that case, you're limited to your own data. The data that's being sent to Capacity Creator is your data, and you're not necessarily sharing that with a community. The data usage policies of the program are very strict in that we're not sharing this data to other users of the system, nor are we combining it together or sanitizing it to use it for a third-party use. So this data is your data. It's being maintained tightly and not shared with others in the community.
Yeah, just to add to that, Robert, I would definitely not be using the product if I was sharing my data and my truck availability, the emails that I'd be receiving and coming in.
Yeah. Great, and thank you both. And I think you can both probably speak to this one as well. What is a typical implementation period for a tool like this?
So I'll start, and then Brian can come in. So the implementation of the software side is relatively small. We have, there's some basic setup of the website that you do as far as choosing the notification options and how you want to, get started, set up your account and user logins. The software integration components get loaded, and then tested. We have both a development environment as well as a production environment for each carrier. So it is a very small window of usually less than a couple days or 3 or 4 days to get this up and running. Now, how it gets up and running at the brokerage, I think Brian can speak to the challenges or what needs to be done there.
Yeah, for us, we were pretty new into integrating it, so we had some hurdles to overcome. And I think the biggest one for us was because we are such a specialized broker, trailer types was kind of a hurdle for us. I mean, we do a lot of multi-axle trailers, Conestogas, step decks with ramps, things of that nature. So obviously those are a very important key components to matching our loads with the available tractors that are out there.
Yeah.
Great. And how do emails get integrated or routed into Capacity Creator?
Right. So there could be a couple different ways that can happen. One way is each customer ends up with their own Capacity Creator email box on a site. So you can switch your carriers from sending it directly to you to a new email box, and those would get processed. A second way would be that you could set up email forwarding rules in your email server to say, hey, based on these patterns, go ahead and forward the emails that look like this to this email box. Or lastly, the carrier executive would forward the email up to the mailbox. Brian, is that how you have done it?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it earlier. We use this shared email box. Now, whether we create a rule or what we're doing now is we're actually marketing out to our carriers, whether it's right underneath our email address through our website. And we use a company called My Carrier Packets for our onboarding. We also have it on there to use this link to send us your available tractor list. So if they're using that link actually goes right to our shared email box.
Right, that's great.
Great. And a question from John. Is there a specific version of Power Broker required for Capacity Creator?
There is a specific version of Power Broker. So we're going to make Capacity Creator available for Power Broker 15.1 and up. And the setup fee that we'll have for training and implementation would be the same for 15.1 as it will be for our latest version of 17.2. So there won't be any porting costs associated with Capacity Creator to older versions. But 15.1 is our cutoff.
Great. And can I pick and choose which carrier emails I want extracted in Capacity Creator?
You can. There's an option to what they call blacklist carriers. So even if you have carriers sending you information to your email box that you're like, oh, we don't use that carrier, they're, I don't want to extract data, then you can set them up on a blacklist and those emails wouldn't be processed.
Okay, great. And then can you share some information about the data usage policy of this product?
Yeah, and so that's where we talked a little bit about sharing the data across all the customers. The data usage policy is provided online, but it basically says that this data belongs to the customer and it won't be shared in the community, nor will it be aggregated and used in another way.
All right, awesome. And thank you guys so much for your thoughtful questions. We really appreciate the time that you took to listen in with us today. And thank you so much to Robert and Brian for your insights, and to you in the audience for, again, asking such great questions and engaging with us. And so finally, thank you to our partners at McLeod Software for making today's presentation possible. And just a quick reminder to everyone in the audience that Market Waves 18 is happening on November 12th and 13th in Grapevine, Texas. And you won't want to miss that awesome industry event. So to view our agenda, you can visit freightwaves.com/marketwaves18. So again, thank you all for taking part in today's webinar. And thank you again to Robert and Brian for your insights. I hope you guys will join us again for another webinar soon.
Oh, yeah, it'd be great. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.